Hey, I'm Charlie Thompson, and these are the lecture slides to go with shamanism as part of the chapter on religion. And I've titled it Old Time Religion because religious scholars believe that shamanism was the original religion practiced by people worldwide before the new religions came in. Shamanism is a religion that involves direct communication with spirits or forces of nature, usually in a trance state, entered into by drumming, dancing, singing, fasting, and entheogens. This is about entheogens. Entheogen literally means awakening the God within, and it's one of the terms for psychedelics or hallucinogens. Psychedelics, in fact, it actually means like mimicking mental illness. Hallucinogen means it makes you see things, and psychedelics and hallucinogens also have cultural baggage as a result of the 1960s. So most researchers who are studying this refer to them as entheogens. Traditional peoples, we think, have found them all. All of the stimulants, all of the depressants, all of the entheogens, we think traditional people worldwide have found them all. I am unaware of a single entheogen that Western science has discovered in an area that the traditional people that lived there were unaware of it. Oh, this is the bee man. This is from the Sahara, and it's this, bee-headed dude, but he's got mushrooms sprouting all over his body. Siberia, the Palearctic people, the people across the Arctic. This is, I think, Big Hands. An Eskimo medicine man. Eskimo is a slur. I'm not sure which exact group they are, but Big Hands. Here we have a Siberian shaman. You can see he's wearing some sort of outfit. He's got some sort of hat with antlers, and he's got his drum, and his feet look like they have claws, indicating possibly he's transforming into some sort of animal. Another shaman and his drum. In fact, there used to be a magazine called Shaman's Drum, might still be around, with various mystical symbols on it. Siberian shamans with their drums and their headdresses. So these are two Siberian shamans and their drums, and a modern Siberian shaman and her mushrooms, which look like her clothes, which looks like Santa. I threw a link in here to the Santa Was a Magic Mushroom story. These mushrooms grow across the Arctic. They grow across the high latitudes of the world. They grow in California. And they have been used by shamans traditionally for thousands and thousands of years. And here's a watercolor of a reindeer eating or sniffing at these mushrooms. The reindeer eat the mushrooms. So the Arctic reindeer herding people eat mushrooms as part of their shamanistic religious activities. And one of the ways it's used is one person eats the mushroom and they trip, and then somebody else drinks their urine and they trip, and somebody else drinks that urine and they trip, and somebody else drinks that and they trip, and somebody else drinks that and they trip. So I had all kinds of questions like, what the hell? Who was the first person to do that? What were they thinking? And in this case, the answers are obvious. Because these people were herders, and their animals, the reindeer, eat these mushrooms and then trip, and they also drink each other's pee, and they drink human pee. In fact, I've heard it's actually irritating if you're out on the tundra and there's these herds of reindeer and you're peeing. The reindeer will actually try to drink it because you've got nutrients, minerals. The reindeer crave the mineral, and so they'll actually try to drink your urine. But the first person to eat the mushrooms have active ingredients that are entheogens, and they also have things in it that make you nauseous. But the urine doesn't contain the nauseating chemicals, so you just trip. So one of the uses of mushrooms by the Arctic shamanistic people involves eating mushrooms and drinking other people's pee. Pretty sure they're not drinking each other's pee anymore. Yeah, I found a brief documentary on reindeers from the BBC. Tuva is down by Mongolia. Tuvans are a Turkic ethnic group in southern Siberia. Alongside Tibetan Buddhism, they also practice a traditional form of Tengronism, religion based on shamanism, animism, and ancestor worship. The meaning of life is seen as living in harmony with the surrounding world. They believe there is no one true religion, as humanity has not reached full enlightenment yet, that all humans are weak and therefore shortcomings should be tolerated. That's a nice view. I like that. There's a Tuvan shaman with his bird hat and eye coverings. More Tuvan shamans. Again, drums. Drumming, very, very popular worldwide for achieving these trance states. More drumming. More drumming. More drumming. Hey, it's a drum. Mexico. Different mushrooms. Well, that was embarrassing. Same mushroom, but different mushrooms. And I want to talk about this guy. This is Gordon Wasson. This is his wife, Valentina. She was Russian. He was an American banker. He actually worked as a vice president for J.P. Morgan Bank back in, I think, the 40s and 50s in upstate New York. Anyway, Gordon meets Valentina. They get married. And on their honeymoon in upstate New York, they're driving around and she sees and makes him pull over. She sees a field with mushrooms and makes him pull over so she can pick some. And it's their honeymoon, so he just wants to make her happy, but he's terrified. He's convinced that he's going to die because mushrooms kill you. So she makes him dinner. He eats it because he's trying to make her happy, and he doesn't die. And then he realizes, wait a minute, why are there some groups like Russians that absolutely love mushrooms, and there's some groups like me, that are afraid of mushrooms? And so he came up with this idea of dividing humanity into mycophiles and mycophobes. And eventually, he got hooked up with this woman, Maria Sabina, who was a curandera, a traditional healer in Mexico. When the Spanish invaded Mexico, the native people in many places ate mushrooms. They called them teonanacatl, which translates roughly into flesh of the gods. They would eat these mushrooms, they would trip, they would actually have communication with these spirits, with these deities. And so when the Spanish showed up, they told the indigenous people, hey, stop eating those mushrooms, those are from the devil. Come with me and go to church, and you can listen to this guy read from this book. And the indigenous people said, I don't need to listen to somebody read from a book. I eat mushrooms and God talks to me. And the response of the Spanish was, well, clearly that's evil and will kill you. So the religion went underground in the 1950s. Gordon Wasson was put in contact with Maria Sabina, and a photographer from Life magazine, which was the most popular public publication at the time, went along and did a full photo spread on his trip to Mexico to trip. And it occurred to me, it's very similar to, it'd be like Time magazine covering a Silicon Valley millionaire going to Burning Man and having an ayahuasca experience. It's exactly the same. This guy represented mainstream conservative America who went to Mexico to take drugs in a search for meaning. So that's Gordon Wasson. That's Valentina Wasson. That's Maria Sabina. Here he is actually eating mushrooms at the beginning of the ceremony. This is Xochipilli. This is a statue found in Mexico. And Xochipilli is covered with entheogenic symbols that we've got nicotine. So this is a tobacco flowers, morning glory flowers, mushroom caps, flowers, and tendrils of morning glories. And morning glory seeds, if you crush them, soak them in water, and strain out the seeds, you're left with a chemical compound that's very similar to LSD. And so ololiqui was one of the preparations used by traditional people in Mexico, made from morning glory seeds as an entheogen. And here we have, physical evidence. Why would you make a statue and cover it with hallucinogenic, entheogenic plants unless that was part of what you were about? In the Amazon, and you've heard about this from Wade Davis when he talks about taking ayahuasca and some of these snuffs, that it's being like shot out of a stainless steel cannon, a stained glass cannon. So this is Banastropsis caapi. This is one of the chemicals, one of the plants that you need to mix together. Banastropsis caapi, those are the dried vines. Psychotria viridis and Banastropsis caapi. These are the two main plants that are used in the preparation of ayahuasca. Psychotria alba, it's a shrub. Yeah, so we got a woody vine. We got this shrub that's related to coffee. And if you mix the two of them together and boil it, the dimethyltryptamine is allowed to interact with your body because the other one of the plants has dimethyltryptamine, which is a very, 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 very powerful entheogen. But if you ate it, your stomach chemicals would break it down and it wouldn't work. And it's got to be monoamine oxidase is the enzyme involved, because the other plant has a monoamine oxidase inhibitor that keeps those chemicals from working in your stomach to break down the DMT before it can hit your brain. And this is the part, this is what Wade Davis was talking about. It was, in fact, this vine that he was saying there's a whole bunch of different species that and I've forgotten which particular group it was in the Amazon, but had like 14 different, they recognized 14 different versions of Banastropsis. And they're identified botanically and also according to their effects of how your body dealt with them. And the people making fun of the Western scientists saying, "What do you mean you can't tell the difference? I thought you knew botany." So there's ayahuasca. North and Central America, we've got Psilocybe cubensis growing in cow patties. Peyote used in the United States. Very slow growing plant. Oh, and this one, I just found an article, and I put the link to the article down here, that this is a Chumash. They're a group down in Southern California, Ventura County, Chumash cave painting. And there is cave art worldwide, rock art worldwide that researchers the people that made it aren't there anymore. In fact, I am unaware of any old cave art where anybody has a clue what it's about. And what somebody's decided is, I think that these are Jimson weed or taloche. Jimson weed is what we call it. Taloche is one of the indigenous names. Jimson weed, you'll see it growing. Looks like morning glories. It's got this kind of purplish stem. You'll see it growing on the sides of roads. You can crush the seeds and mix it with water, strain out the seeds and drink it. And every year, it seems like every year, there's a story about a couple kids in Southern California that get bored and grind it up and try to make a brew with Mr. Coffee and end up in the hospital because there are all kinds of compounds. It's not just entheogens. There's yes, some very, 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 very nasty chemicals in this. But here we've got it in cave art. And so the presumption in this article is that the Chumash had gotten the hang of proper dosing and use of this. And if you ask the Chumash, they'd probably just tell you that the plant told them. That's what the ayahuasqueros say. Well, the plants sing to us. They tell us. What, you can't hear them? And that's it for shamanism. I hope at least that was interesting, and I hope you have a good day.